As a participant in the Alzheimer's Disease Neuroimaging Initiative, you are making a tremendous contribution to research that could someday improve the lives of millions of people. Without participants, scientists would not be able to do this work. Collecting cerebrospinal fluid through a procedure called a lumbar puncture, more commonly known as the spinal tap, is for many volunteers the most daunting part of the experience. We want to give you a preview so that you'll know what to expect and so that you'll understand why it is likely to cause you very little discomfort and no trauma at all. First, a few words about why we need spinal fluid for Alzheimer's disease research.
Cerebrospinal fluid, or spinal fluid, surrounds the brain. It contains the proteins and the other substances that are produced by the brain. And by taking a sample of this fluid, we can assess the biochemical events that are happening in a living human being.
And putting what we find in spinal fluid chemically together with what we see in neuroimaging structurally and with what we find out through neuropsychological evaluation of memory and other cognitive functions, we can get a well-rounded picture of what the brain, the organ of dysfunction in Alzheimer's disease, is doing in this disorder.
And analyses of these substances will provide vital information that will help us develop new and improved therapeutic and diagnostic techniques. I mean, this is the only access we have to brain chemicals in a living person.
Well, my mom has Alzheimer's, and she's at the point where there's not much I can do for her personally, aside from ensure that she has good care. So participating in the research is something that I can do that's benefiting probably not her, but other people in the future, and something I can feel good about.
Now, today you're agreeing.
When you volunteer to participate in the Alzheimer's Disease Neuroimaging Initiative, your first step will be an information session in which you can get answers to any questions you might have about the process. Then, you'll sign consent forms allowing us to use the information you give us in our research.
Do you currently use tobacco products?
No.
Your next step will be to answer questions about your general health history, your family history, your lifestyle, and recent life experiences. Anything that could have an impact on your participation in research.
Now we're going to check your blood pressure.
You'll then be given a basic medical examination, and then the testing will begin, with tests of your neurological reflexes.
I look right at my finger and follow my finger just to your eyes. Try to keep your...
Some of this you may remember from childhood. Some may seem a little quirky. It's an important step in Alzheimer's research because these tests can rule out other neurological problems.
Okay, on this piece of paper.
Then you'll do a series of progressively more difficult cognitive tests.
And when I say some numbers, after I stop, I want you to say them back to me backwards. 9, 4, 3, 7, 6, 2, 5, 8.
8, 5, 2, 6, 7. I don't remember. 3, 1, 9.
Go ahead and start naming animals.
Cat, dog, horse, red, green, blue, red, green. Guinea pig, hamster, rat. Green, red, blue, green, blue. 6, 5, 8, 4, 2, 7. Cheetah, 3, 8, 9, 5. I don't even remember them.
The memory tests are designed to be kind of tough, and we're trying to stretch people to the limit of their memory abilities. So
Earthworm.
we expect people who are completely normal to get some of the questions wrong.
I don't know if earthworm counts.
Yes, it's a...
Okay.
On the day that you come in for your lumbar puncture, you'll review the procedure once again with the nurse, check vital signs, and make yourself comfortable while the medical team does their job. Throughout the procedure, a nurse will be present to make sure you're comfortable, and a laboratory technologist will be on hand to gather the samples of blood and spinal fluid.
Morning, Carolyn.
The doctor will tell you exactly what he or she is doing and exactly what you need to do. You'll begin by lying on your side and pulling your knees up into a tight curl.
And then I'm just going to run a little line down your back with my thumbnail. Okay, and now I'm going to take a feel of the bones of your spine. And since you're in such a good position, you don't need to do anything. Just let me do all the work. I'm just going to tuck it under you here. Okay, now I'm going to wash your back off, Carolyn. and it's going to feel cold and wet. I'm going to do it 3 times. You ready? Here it comes, cold and wet. Now, Carol, I'm going to do the part that hurts just a little, where I put the local anesthetic in.
For most people, the only sting is that moment when the local anesthetic goes in, just like at the dentist. Once it's in, we're ready to insert the needle and collect cerebrospinal fluid.
Okay, now you should be numbed up. You shouldn't feel any sharp pain when I put the real thing in, the real needles. So
In most cases, it takes about 5 minutes to collect 2 tablespoons of fluid, which will give researchers 50 samples to test for proteins and other brain chemicals or biomarkers.
Okay, any more questions?
When the lumbar puncture is over, your job is to rest for an hour and then take it a little bit easy for the next 24. There's a less than 1% risk of getting a post-lumbar puncture headache, and before you go home, the doctor will explain to you what to do if you get one.
Okay, you did great. Okay.
The whole atmosphere was calm. There was somebody by my side there just to make sure everything was going well from my perspective. I think she asked me if I was okay every 2 minutes. She was checking.
When you participate in research, you are giving something money can't buy.
People ask me that. Why do you participate in these studies? I would say curiosity is a big factor. Also the feeling that somebody's got to do it.
In the whole scheme of things, if there weren't people ready and willing to do that, they wouldn't get the information they need. And I feel that it's important enough to be one of those people who is trying to make it work out.
Why not do it? There's not a reason not to do it. It was a small investment on my part and is benefiting hundreds of thousands of people.
Really the benefit in the most altruistic sense is gaining a kind of immortality from contributing to research that will benefit future generations.
A major problem in Alzheimer's research is that this is a disease which involves the brain. And the brain is the most difficult organ in the human body to study, because it's protected in many ways from our ability to observe it.
It's a big commitment, but a really, really worthwhile commitment.